What is up, everyone? Welcome back. Uh, Bitcoin dropped down to $64,500 yesterday, and it is pushing back up today. So, is this the top for Bitcoin, or where could we be going? Plus, I wanted to discuss some commodities that could be a bit concerning for inflation, as well as some other stocks and cryptos that you should be getting ready to buy. All right, guys, I hope that sounds good to you. I've got a couple penny stocks at the end of this video that are entering some very interesting buying levels. So be sure to stick around to the end of this video for that. I hope everyone is having a happy St. Patty's Day. As you can see, I've got my green shirt on. Went out with some friends last night, had a little bit of fun. Um, Maybe a little bit too much fun, but that's how it goes sometimes. Anyway, guys, let's get started. So, Bitcoin has been dropping over the past couple days from around that $74,000 level down to $64,500 yesterday. And it looks like we're starting to put in a series of higher, lower lows and lower highs. Um, this could be good for Bitcoin, just to give it a little bit of time to cool off because it has been pumping over the past several months now, and it probably needs a little break. So, where could we be going for Bitcoin? Well, in the long term, I definitely think it's much, much higher from here. Um, but in the short term, over the next couple weeks, possibly going into the halving, I got a couple levels of where I could see Bitcoin going. So let's discuss those. And if we zoom out here a little bit, the first level I am looking at is around this $62,000 level. I think that would be a good place as we've had a lot of structure here in the past. If we take a measurement from the top down to the bottom of this sell-off we saw yesterday, that's about a 12%. If we go down to this level, that's about a 15%. And most of the major pullbacks that we have had during this Bitcoin bull cycle has been down around 20%. So that would take us down to around the $58,000 level. If we got a deeper pullback like we've seen in some of the previous crypto cycles, we could be going down to around that $52,000 level. So I think that's probably worst case scenario, unless something happens like a world war or something like that. But yeah, I don't think we're going back down to that level. I think that we will probably see maybe just a little bit of weakness here, like I said, over the next couple weeks or week. But I think we are getting ready to go much higher. All right. So I wanted to discuss some other commodities as well, such as oil. Oil is moving higher. Um, it's attempting to break out of this $80 level, which means inflation could be rising. Um, Generally speaking, oil moves higher during this time of year. So it's nothing unusual, really, in my opinion. Um, and it could go a good bit higher here as we go into summer. Typically, it peaks around June or July. Last year, we saw it a little bit later in the year. Um, but oil is on the rise. So is copper. Copper finally broke this $4 level. And it looks like it wants to go higher as well as some of these other commodities, such as gold. Gold has been moving up in the last week. And, gold moving up is kind of a defensive play. That's why I do have a couple uh, gold stocks that I'm holding. Excuse me, guys. Man, almost getting over this. And every time I start talking, then my throat gets scratchy. But hopefully that will be better in a couple days. Anyway, let's continue on. So what does that mean for inflation? Well, as you can see from Trueflation, the inflation rate on Trueflation, which is a current indicator of inflation, is at 1.99%. Whereas the inflation, the CPI numbers that is reported, which is a lagging indicator, is still up over 3%. So, do we really have inflation? Have we hit that target that the Fed wants to see? Well, I think we're probably getting closer to that. Um, and I think it probably is really going to depend on what happens in the economy and maybe real estate or the banks. Because if we see some sort of signs of um, weakness there, then they could cut. And I think that's probably the most likely outcome that would cause them to start cutting. I know they want to hit 2%, CPIs over 3%, and they say historically inflation, the government says it is around 2%. But, I've been looking at markets and investing for a long time, and I remember when I first went to look at setting up an IRA back in 2010, 11, something like that. um, the inflation rate that the advisors showed me at that point was actually around 3.5%. And from all the time that I've been studying markets, I always heard around 3% instead of 2%. So I do think we're getting back to those normal rates. So what does that mean for stocks? Well, I think that's good for small cap stocks. Uh, excuse me, guys. Woo. I think this is allergies. A lot of tree pollen coming out here in South Carolina. Um, yeah, smaller stocks, whenever they start cutting rates, are going to do much better. So it will be risk assets on, I believe, in a couple next 12 to 18 months. You can see a lot of stocks and cryptos doing really well. Here's Mara. It dropped down to around $18. It lost this trend line, but it's still maintaining this support here. So Mara looks like a good buy. I added some more Riot to my portfolio on Friday whenever we saw this sell-off start, and it is maintaining this trend line, this upsloping trend line we've seen since the bottom. And BitDeer, another crypto miner, did over 20% gain on Friday. So if we zoom out here a little bit and we take this down sloping trend here, it looks like we just broke out on BitDeer. And we may come back down and retest this line, but if we hold this, we should see BitDeer starting to move higher. If you all want to trade stocks, commodities, cryptos, you can use Prime XBT. I just downloaded this a couple weeks ago. Um, I tried to buy a crypto altcoin in there and I got stopped out last week, but that's okay. But so far, I'm loving this platform. And it allows you to trade with leverage. I don't recommend trading with leverage just for anybody. This is something that only more experienced people should do. Um, but if you're interested, there is a link below down in the description. So you can go get Prime XBT and start trading stocks, commodities, and cryptos and with leverage if you wish. Solana is hot. It just keeps pumping. It's going up and testing this $200 level. As you can see, it hit about 198 on the daily yesterday. The RSI is showing that it is heated up. It is getting quite hot. If we zoom out on the daily, let's just go to the weekly. I like to zoom out. I'm more of a swing trader. So I like to look at more of the long-term trends and try to find these things when they're cheap. And once these start making a series of higher lows and higher highs, that's when I like to get in. So Solana is approaching that $200 level. Last cycle, it was up around 253. And Solana is one of those altcoins that may outperform all the other layer ones this crypto cycle. So I like Solana. I wish I would have got more of it at the bottom, but everybody always does. Another one is Ethereum. Ethereum went up and touched this $4,000 level and it broke out of this ascending channel wedge pattern that we have. And so now this line here becomes our resistance. As you can see, it just went up and touched that on this chart. This is a 4-hour, and it was actually down around 3,500 whenever I was looking at this stuff earlier this morning. So where could Ethereum be going? Well, definitely to the upside in the long term, but in the short term, it could possibly come back down here and test this $3,000 area to $2,900. I'm looking to get into Ethereum. I'm going to be buying some Ethereum very, very soon. Um, possibly as soon as tomorrow. So that's Ethereum. I think we go much higher from here. And AVEX is holding strong at $55. Um, yeah, some of these layer ones are doing really well. And obviously, as Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. But, you know, in times when Bitcoin comes down, some of that capital goes into these other markets, which means it could be a very good time to get into them. Some of them have sold off fairly substantially with the Bitcoin pullback. So it could be a great time to be getting in on some of these altcoins that have had a little bit of a pullback. If you're interested in buying crypto, gold, or silver, you can get iTrust Capital, an IRA with iTrust Capital. I use them. I rolled over a portion of my 401k or IRA into iTrust Capital, and they are a tax advantage IRA. That allows you to save money on your trading and crypto gains by not have to pay taxes. So they also allow you to buy, sell, and trade gold, crypto, and silver 24/7 with a low cost and no monthly fee. Right now, they're offering $100 if you open an account. There is a link down in the description below, so you can check that out if you're interested. But let's talk about portfolio sizing here, guys. And this is going to be different for everybody. And it really just depends on what, um, you know, your goals and risk tolerances are. So for me, when I was working in the corporate world, I, I always kind of bought into, save for 40 years and you can retire. And I came to a point where I realized not only did I not enjoy sitting in an office all day in a building and not being able to get outside, but I came to realize that um, there is going to be an epidemic with people who retire. I've seen it, in my families, in my great aunts and uncles and um, parents' lives, where you get to a point where you can retire, but then if you may have $1 million in the bank, but $1 million is not enough to live on unless you want to reduce your lifestyle. Now, that also depends on how frugal you are, but getting back to portfolio sizing, I think that everyone should at least consider looking at allocating a portion of their portfolio to crypto or Bitcoin at least. Because if you allocated just 2% of your portfolio and held the rest cash, you would be outperforming the S&P 500. Now, if you can gain 8% a year in an S&P account or exchange traded fund, that can allow you to retire, work hard for 40 years, and then you get out. But, for me, I want to get out and really enjoy life. There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to travel. I want to go places and do some other things. So, for me, I prefer some of the fastest horses in the race. Some of those allow you to make, 10, 20, 30% in, a matter of a couple days or a couple weeks or even a couple months. I like I said, I've been a swing trader, um, an investor, but I never really tried to day trade. My philosophy is more swing trading, like I mentioned earlier, where I try to find these trends and get in early and carry that momentum. I don't like sitting behind a computer all day. I just like to take about an hour in the morning, see what's going on, and then place any trades if I want. I might take, a couple trades, 3, 4, 5 trades a month, maybe. Um, Sometimes a little more if there's more volatility, but nevertheless, you know, determining a portfolio and risk allowance for you is up to you. Only you can decide that. But I think that everyone should be at least looking at dedicating a portion, whether it's 2%, 5%, 10%. I have about 5% in some of these really risky assets, and then I'm pushing 50% on Bitcoin and crypto related assets. And then the rest of mine is I've got about 25% in cash. I always think it's a good idea to keep some cash on the side, even if you put it in something like a T-bill or something that earns 5%. Um, that way, it allows you to purchase assets when they go on sale. That's what I've done in real estate. So it's really up to you, but I think everyone should look at least a small portion of their portfolio in crypto. Anyway, let's continue on real quick here, guys. I'm sorry, that was a little bit of a rant. Uh, I've got a couple penny stocks here for you that is like buying Bitcoin at $16,000. So, one of those is Mind Medicine. Now, if you know anything about stocks and the sectors, healthcare is one of those things that uh, it's an industry that's always going to be growing, and or at least for the foreseeable future, for the next 20, 30, 50 years. In my opinion, everybody wants to be healthy, everybody wants to be fit, and Mind Medicine is one of those companies that offer some of these psychedelic drugs that increase performance and enhance how you feel, which everyone wants to feel good, right? Um, but it's more of a safer drug. It's not like something that you're going to get off the street, obviously. And so this Mind Medicine has been in this long phase of accumulation over the past year and a half when the Fed was raising rates, and it's just starting to break out of this line of resistance here, and it's sitting at $9. Next up for it will be 15.50 to about 19.20, 30. Let's just say 19.30 for Mind Medicine, and this thing could go much, much higher. Look at this. You could go up to 35, up to 42 will be the next zone, and then it could go up to 53 or $60 per stock. So this is one of those stocks that could do a 5x, just like you see in some of these altcoins and crypto stocks. So I saw this the other day. I wanted to point this out because I thought this was really interesting. I'm probably going to put some small positions on some of these. And another one is psilocybin. Another one of those healthcare pharmaceutical drug companies that focus making products on just helping people feel a little better and increase their performance. So psilocybin has been in this accumulation zone here. Really, you could probably move this line down to here to this previous resistance, even though we've seen it starting to break out last fall. But it's approaching that area again. And this is another one right around 46 cents. Could go much higher. It could go up to $1 to $1.10, or $1.50 to $1.75. And it could go much, much higher as well. You see that this one peaked out at around 325 during 2021. So as the Fed cuts rates and starts easing their monetary policy, I think these stocks will go much, much higher. Um, like I said, I'm looking at buying a couple shares of these. Well, a small percentage of my portfolio. I'll put it that way. All right, guys. If you're interested in trading or investing and you just want to do some analysis yourself or get some tips from some other pro traders, you can use Trading View. I just started with them. It's really enhanced my ability to find these areas of base formation and trends. If you're interested, there is a link below, and their platform is amazing. Anybody that's into stocks and day trading really use this platform. Pretty much everybody does, and a lot of these other platforms are based off TradingView. And in my opinion, they are the best. So if you're interested, you can click the link below. Lastly, go follow me at Mind of the Financier on Twitter. That's at Mind of Financier, but I am Mind of the Financier on all my other socials. Um, and I will post any updates I see in the markets here when I see them. All right, guys, I hope you all have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Get out there. Go, hopefully get out and enjoy some sunshine if it's nice in your area. And until next time, guys, be legendary. Have a great day.